Nice to have the Nando's marketing team here shouting. So, thanks, Fred, and thanks, Anton. Thanks for Discovery support. Fred got me on the never trust the skinny chef bit when he said heavy chef, and it was Doug actually that is the responsible one for actually hooking me in here tonight, and it's a real privilege for me to be here. When I met you the first time, I was hugely inspired by what you stood for and what you did and what you're doing for this country. So thank you very, very much. It's a really massive privilege to be here, and a lot of people have said to me, Nando's, how do I connect into the Constitutional Court? Because one of the things I insisted with Fred is that this event has to be here. To have, LB with us and speaking here, you can't do this in Sandton City or even at the Discovery headquarters. LB, this is, for me, this precinct is LB. It's an absolute privilege, and thank you for agreeing to come, because one of the things I said to Fred is nobody wants to hear me speak, you want to hear LB speak. So I'm not going to talk for long other than share a bit of a story of how Nando's or how chicken or how peri-peri does connect in here somehow. And I'll weave some kind of story in. But really it's, the story starts on my own personal journey, which is really about, because sometimes you often have to wonder, how the hell did I actually get to where I've got to, and how, what am I doing here? You've got to pinch yourself to realize, how do I get to even be at the court? And it really came about in 2010 when I stepped out from being the Nando's CEO. I was the CEO from the founding up to 2010. And in 2010, I decided I wasn't enjoying myself anymore. The Nando's brand, we'd grown the restaurants to 1,000 restaurants, and I just stopped the passion that I had from the first, probably 900. From 900 to 1,000 restaurants, I lost my passion. And there's a point in time where you've got to stand up and look at yourself in the mirror and say you're actually not happy for whatever reasons. And lucky we had fantastic partners in the Enthovens, and I had a chat with them, and I just said to Robbie and to Dick Enthoven, I'm not happy. I think I need to step down, and we need to bring professional management in. So part of the professional management is a guy like Doug, proper pro. So I'm like beyond excited about having a pro like Doug as part of the Nando's team. But the reality is that you've got to take that move. It is a very bold move. I didn't think at the time what it actually meant, because when you step out as the CEO, your phone stops ringing. That's the first thing that happens. And no matter who you are, and it's flippin' lonely, because you stop getting invited to the golf days, you stop getting invited to the kind of things, and the king is dead, long live the king. And so you just become, you lose your cloak to a certain extent. And at that particular point in time, I actually needed to reinvent myself as well. And I realized that I couldn't be doing the same stuff that I was doing, but I didn't really know what to do. And at that particular point in time, I got a call from Cheryl Carolus, who's the chairperson of the Con Hill Trust, which is a trust that's on the hill here, asking me if I wouldn't mind joining the trust. And when anyone ever asks me to join a position of governance or a trust or a board, I'm always very skeptical, because it normally comes with the fact that they want the Nando's checkbook, or they want some kind of creative. They think that I'm a creative person. Well, I'm probably the least creative. People think I'm going to come and write an ad for them. I can't string two words together. Trust me, I can't write two sentences. And I certainly said to Cheryl, I'm not bringing a checkbook. And how wrong I've been proved actually on that, okay? So what I did was, I said to Cheryl, why do you want me? I mean, what's the reason? In your interview with me, what do you want me here for? If you're not getting the checkbook and you're not getting the creativity, what do you want? And she said, Nando's has never been to the Constitutional Court. You're not a company that seems to be litigious, although you take on a lot of people, and we've done shit in our time. We've really stirred up a lot. We've certainly been at the forefront of political kind of commentary, speaking truth to power, doing a whole lot of stuff from inception up to, recently. And she felt that was something that was important that was important from Nando's. And the second part was that she felt, I think differently. Might not be creative, but I think differently. We need different thinking on the Hill. Can you come and add that dimension of different thinking? So I think she curses the day that I came here, because I think we're starting to turn things on their head slightly. But the first time I came to the Hill, because I felt that I needed to kick the tires and just see, before I accepted what I was going to do here, why should I actually, what does it mean to me? I'd been to Wits, I'd come past this precinct many times, I'd never really been in. I didn't know what it was. I was naive, I was stupid, it's crazy to think what actually happened when I came in here, and I realized the potential of the place, first of all. Secondly, the history of the place, that the place actually talks about the past, but about hope for the future. And what a space. I got goosebumps when I actually came on. And the first tour that I came was with Albie. And Albie took me around, and in my life, I have never been more moved, to come to a place. When I think about it, I get chilled, because he took me on a tour of how we as South Africans negotiated the Constitution. And we often forget about it. We forget, we've forgotten, because of the last 9 years that we've gone through, we've forgotten, and if you excuse me for saying it, but basically, we pissed on the Constitution. Okay, what happened in this country was terrible. And yet the Constitutional Court held so firm and was such a protector. And for the first time when I came with Albie, and this is a question I want to ask, how many of you here have read the preamble to the Constitution? Okay. Perfect, brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Because I thought I hadn't read it. And when I read it for the first time, I was so inspired. I was inspired about this place and about what we as South Africans stand for. And B, I realized one thing, that the Constitution is a world-class product. It is a product that we as South Africans can be so, so proud of. We do not realize what we've actually got in our hands. That Constitution is something so special, and yet we as South Africans do not actually know anything about the Constitution. So I'm not going to read the Constitution, the preamble. I'm going to ask Lwando to read it for you. Because when I heard her read it for the first time, I was in tears. And she read it for me at the Flame. Okay? And every time you read it, you're in tears almost. So please, won't you come up and just read the Constitution? No pressure. I didn't tell her about it.
Thank you, Robin. He's quite right. I mean, for me, no matter how many times I say it, it's just a reminder of a pact in our name, because it starts with we the people. And it's our national pact, whether you've read it or not. It's something that you're bound by. And if you're going to be bound by it, it's very important that you know what it says. And so here it is. We, the people of South Africa, recognize the injustices of our past, honor those who have suffered for justice and freedom in our land, respect those who have worked to build and develop our country, and believe that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, united in our diversity. We therefore, through our freely elected representatives, adopt this Constitution as the supreme law of the Republic, so as to heal the divisions of the past and establish a society based on democratic values, social justice, and fundamental human rights. To lay the foundations for a democratic and open society in which government is based on the will of the people and every citizen is equally protected by law. To improve the quality of life of all citizens and free the potential of each person, and build a united and democratic South Africa, able to take its rightful place as a sovereign state in the family of nations. May God protect our people. Nkosi sikelele Africa. Morena buluka sechaba sa Yesu. God save South Africa. God bless South Africa. Mudzimu fatiteza Africa. Hosi katekisa Africa.
Thank you. So to me, when I heard this the first time, I just got goosebumps, and I got such comfort in reading this. It was at a time where Barbara Hogan actually held up a copy of the Constitution for the Ahmed Kathrada when Ahmed Kathrada died and the country was burning, and she said, you know, this Constitution is really what stands between good and bad. And we, the people of South Africa, have sometimes not really understood that or not really defended it. And government works for us. We don't work for government. It's the other way around. This country's gone completely the opposite way. And I looked at the space, and I looked at the Constitution, and I looked at how the Constitution, what Albie did, and the team that Albie had, of how they negotiated the building of this of the court, the sensitivity of how the fabric of the court was actually designed and built, and the hierarchy and the kind of the energy of South Africans is in that court, that you can understand how we as South Africans are so successful, and that South Africa will always succeed when you actually understand how this was done and why it was done. You get absolute comfort that we as South Africans are really going to win this war. And ultimately, if you look at it in the context of what's happening in the world today, where the world actually needs a strong constitution like South Africa to inspire what's going on in the world, and actually to be that beacon of hope and that beacon of human rights and the beacon of freedom and diversity, and that we're a nation all together, and we're only as good as all of us together. That actually staying in South Africa is probably one of the most important and privileged positions we have. And as South Africans, the ability that we have to fundamentally make change is so critical. But it starts with you as an individual. And it's also we the people. It's us that can make a difference. Don't wait for government and worry about what's going on there. You as an individual can make a difference. It's about individual people that stand up and say, we're going to do stuff. It's what Adrian Discovery, what you guys are doing every single day. It's what Doug and we at Nando's are doing every single day, where we're not despondent, despite the fact that things aren't going that well, that there's negativity, the press is, whatever it is, you can get depressed until you travel and you go realize what's going on in America, what's going on with Brexit, and you put in context of what we are as South Africans are all about. This place is on fire. It's phenomenally exciting to be in South Africa and to be at a time right now where we can fundamentally make change and fundamentally see the impact of change. You're not going to impact the change much in the UK or in America, but here we can fundamentally make change. This is such a privilege to be part of a country right now.